very snug. That's too snug. I think it may have spread this wood a teeny bit when I pushed it in. It was that snug, and it can't do that, because if it spreads this wood and there's tension on this wood as it's shot, it will it'll split it. There's a chance of it. So I'm going to measure that with it in there, and then take it out and measure it again. But I'm pretty sure I saw it spread it a little bit. But that'll leave me some pretty nice marks. The only place I smoked it was on this lug, and it did leave me a nice tight mark on that lug, which that's good. That lets me know that it's touching right there where it needs to be touching. It's also touching back here. I'm not really sure where that mark came from. There's a little mark right there. Oh, it's at the very back of this, where they flattened this off. They left a little square edge right there, and that little square edge is showing right there. So that's okay. But I need to go down. This has got to go down some more, because this thing's got to drop in there about another 30 seconds. But that position, that makes me feel good, that position of that lug. Now the width of this was 152, and without the metal in there, it's 1509. So yeah, it spread that. That's okay. That's all right. I'll work it out. I've got all kinds of little scuff marks along this edge where it tells me where it's hitting tight. When I take those scuff marks out, it'll get to where it folds in nice. I think I'm going to blacken the whole thing and take these marks out and blacken the whole thing, and then put it back in again with all of this black. That's down below the wood surface, barely. Not a lot, but barely. Triggers are free and clear. I need to look at that safety, that little toggle in there, see if that thing's moving free and clear. See, right there's that little safety, the top of it, sticking up. And the front of it, the front of that pin is right there. And that thing needs to move, and it's not. I can't push it. It's in a bind. So what I'm going to do is take a pair of needle nose and grab this here and try to move it front to back and see if it leaves me any kind of scuff marks inside there. It's jammed up. Let's see if I can tap the front of it. Yeah. If I do it that way, it moves. When it went back, it drifted over to the side. There's something in there binding it up. I think it went in there too far, because it's not designed to go back much past where this is inletted. That's where that push rod comes back, and it pushes it just that far and no further. So it's not designed to go way back in there recessed like it is. So it's too far back. See where the smoke is rubbed off of that little top, that little thing right there? Well, that's that safety that runs back and forth. See, it's got to move back and forth. And that's the highest thing in this whole menagerie of stuff in there, triggers and pivots and springs and all that. That's the highest thing in there. Well, that's what's got to be cut out deepest. And what has happened was, when I cut that out, I didn't quite cut enough out of that right there, and that's where that was bound up. See, that pin comes out through that little channel right there, and then it goes back that way and goes into this through hole here, but it was bound up right there. I love this stuff. Absolutely love this stuff. So the rest of it, see all these black marks along the sides here? That's still too tight. See, all along the top of this right here is got black. And that's still quite tight, too tight. Because you got to make this thing where a gunsmith can get it apart and work on it. One of these days, it may have to come back apart. Now this black back here in the very back end of this, I'm okay with that because I think it was about the proper depth up and down. So I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to ease up these sides and mill out the middle of this right here where that safety can run back and forth. I like my lug in here. You can see down inside there's some black right on the front of this. That means it's touching nice and hard. I want that nice and tight. All right, this is just sitting in there and it's still a little bit too tight. But my safety on top works. Front to back, front to back. When it's all the way in the forward position, the triggers can be depressed. And this push rod is up here almost to the front edge of this, which is the back edge of this metal. When you push rod, and this is activated and that plunger comes back, the push rod goes back about that far, your triggers are locked. You can't, well, if it stays there, your triggers are locked. You can't push them back. When that comes forward, your triggers will go back. See this in the back position, the triggers are locked. When the safety is pushed forward, the triggers are unlocked. So the mechanics of this are good. The spacing up and down, I got to fine tune that. When I put the top on, I'll see if this will fasten all the way up into the top, because this metal's got to be smooth on the bottom. And also the screw, the length of the screw that holds this to this, that will let me know how much further or not I have to go up with this screw, with this back end of this tang. And then I'll fit my trigger guard. I'll have to screw it into there and put it in here and inlet that. But first I got to get this right. Now see if the top and bottom will fit together. And I think I have to put the top in first and then put the bottom in. I don't know that I can do it this way. I'm not sure about this. See this there's a little slot right in that safety button. That's got to straddle that safety. With the top of that thing, it's got to slip into the middle of that straddle there. So that means this would have to come back a little bit. Well, that sat down perfect. That dropped right in there. That doesn't usually happen. Most of the time you've got to put the top in first. So the safety button itself is not that hard to line up. I've got to get this to go around that, and I've got to flip it over to figure that out. The other thing I got to do is there's something holding me off right in here, keeping me from lining up, and I don't know what that is. I think there's a lug on the bottom of this that locks in. Yeah, there's a lug right there, and I think it locks in to this hole, this cavity. I think that lug locks in right there, and that's the only place for it to go is in that hole. So I think I have to put the top in first and then slip this down on top of it. I've got this screw put in and I've got it level on top, and I'm measuring right at the very tail end of both of the top and bottom metal. And I have over 1/8 of an inch too much wood here, top and bottom combined. So I've got plenty to deal with, and I need to be recessed. I know at least a 1/16 of an inch on each end, so that lets me know where I am. And I have to put the this in put the top in first and put the bottom into it because of this. There's a lip. That screw's got a little snug place in it right there, and there's a little booger on the side of it that won't let it go in and out of that hole too good. But this has to go in, pivot in. The front has to go in first. There's a little tab that goes in the front right here and locks, and then this lug fits into this hole, and it fits. It's pretty snug. It's got to go in a pivoting kind of way, front first, and then the back follows. And you've got to get this safety rod in the right place for it to drop in there. Doing it out here with no wood in the way is not a problem, but doing it with wood in hiding all this where you can't see it, it might be a little bit of a trick. So safety's got to be in the back position, and this has got to be extended in the back position to try to do this. This is the first time. The first attempt. And it went.